if you try an AI tool, even if it is ChatGPT, and you don't like it or you don't find it to be doing what you need it to do, one, there's an error in the process, right? And it could be you. But two, if you don't like it, move on to the next AI tool. This is what's happening right now. We are in a place where we get to test lots of things for low cost or free cost. There is no barrier to AI entry at the moment. There just isn't.
Hey there, welcome to the Stormwater World Podcast. Hey, welcome back to this episode of the Stormwater World Podcast. I am super excited about this episode because it matters to you, and it has a lot to do with stormwater and has nothing to do with stormwater. So today we are going to talk about the buzzword, artificial intelligence, AI. And before you roll your eyes and you think, oh my gosh, he's doing an episode because everybody's talking about AI, it's real simple. It's because it's going to change your life. Whether you like it or not, it's going to change your life. And we have a guest here who has just totally gone on all in. Friend of mine, so happy that she took the time. She did not have to take the time to come and visit with us today. She is speaking all around the country about AI, meaning people are paying her for the information that she's going to be sharing with you today. So please help me welcome. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for coming. Kristen Kautz,
I am so happy to be here.
Oh, great.
Absolutely.
Kristen, yeah. You're the principal of Jam Idea Agency,
Yes.
Right? And co-founder.
Yeah.
And AI guru. You've got years and years of experience, and then you've taken all that experience and you said, full stop,
Yeah.
This is what's happening in the world. I'm going to go chase it. Yeah. And so you're here today to talk to us about AI.
So not really chasing, although I know you and I have talked about that before. But I've always, probably like you, Ty, I've always been interested in, I'm going to say weird, I hate this phrase, but outside the box marketing hacks or techniques, tools, apps, extensions, programs, anything that was just more interesting than normal status quo. And of course, when AI has been around since the 1950s, this is nothing new. People should know that it's been in their phones for a while. Obviously, Amazon, Apple, face recognition. I say it quietly, Alexa and Siri, so that they don't hear me answer, because they do when I start talking about them. But AI has been around for a long time, and people have already been interacting with it and using the technology, even if they didn't know they were using the technology, right? But when OpenAI launched, the company has been around for almost 10 years, I think. But when they launched this platform called ChatGPT in November of 2022, it hit my radar just like it did a lot of people. And I was like, what's this? This is so interesting. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And it just fit into the way that I already look at tech. We're a techno-optimists. Like I want to use technology to make my life and my team's life and my client's life easier. So it just fit. And when you say buzzword, it's in marketing. I hate that, only because it's bigger than buzz. It's bigger than buzz. I don't know. Maybe that's our tag, but it's bigger than buzz.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're in the same way, but when I speak about AI, there are people who do come and they're like, I want to learn. I want to know. I'm an optimist too, or like a neutral optimist, right? Because we know the challenges and concerns and stuff like that. But I do have a couple naysayers in the room. I've heard things like, Kristin, we've seen this before. It's just new tech that's going to make us work harder. I had someone at a last seminar, God bless him, he said something like, it's just a search engine. And
yeah. Hey, wait, on that thought. So we're old enough not to date us, right? Not to date us, and not to, but
what? Yeah.
The internet was a fad, right?
Oh my God.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel about AI. I feel that people are like, oh, the internet's it's just a fad. It's gonna go away. Yeah. Well, there's people out there that have grown up with, and all they know is the internet. There's people that are gonna listen to this pod. All they know, they have no idea what I'm even talking about. Like, wait a minute, the internet wasn't gonna even stay. It was gonna be a fad, and so we're back at there. That's where we're back to. AI is the equivalent of those people going,
meh. Yeah, right. So what was really interesting about this last gentleman who said it's just a search engine, I put my patient face on and I'm educating and I'm going to be the techno-optimist and I'm not just going to dismiss him. And I start to talk, but there were about 10 or 15 like IT people in this room, along with some AEC leadership as well. But the IT people started to fight back. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't have to just say, no, it's not just a search engine. but people who get it. And we're starting to, get that kind of those networks around us. So yeah. Anyway,
Well,
that was a long
no,
drawn out way of you and I like to look at new stuff. I think we definitely have that in common,
yes.
and tech especially, but AI is here to stay. It is not a fad. It is not a trend. It is not just a buzzword. It's amazing.
And I think like with all things that take on a lot of heat and go viral, and then you get a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of weirdness and in misinformation out there, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Let's take a step
Mhm.
back because, like you mentioned, AI, the term artificial intelligence, and whether or not it's in the form of an
Mhm.
algorithm and choosing what you're purchasing or what we should show you on the internet, versus what we're talking about with this quote unquote new AI or large language
Yeah.
models, right?
Yeah.
And I think we should start there for everybody because I think that's where they get confused. Because you go to Google, you search. You go to ChatGPT if you don't know any better, you don't know what you're really looking at it.
Yeah.
There's a search bar. So you instead, oh, okay, so I'm just all I'm doing is just asking questions versus just typing in phrases like I would do in
Yeah.
Google. What's the big deal? So you want to expound a little bit? Because I think that will help a lot of people clear up like
Mhm. Mhm.
what we're excited about, right? We're not just excited
Yeah.
about artificial intelligence. We're excited about what the
Yeah.
tech is actually doing behind the scenes with the information it has available.
Okay, so the first thing I would say is probably, unfortunately, when ChatGPT hit the market. Actually, I'm going to step back if that's okay. All right, so I always do a
Sure.
primer when I do my presentations. I'll be very quick about this. The way that AI works is very complex, but it's not complicated. The first thing you have to do is a person or even AI now has to give the AI model a prompt. You have to give it directions, you have to give it instructions. And there's all these other courses out there about how to be really good at prompting. The second thing it does is it goes to look for information from a knowledge source or a database and it looks for the information that you have asked it to go look for. It is trained to do so by a computer scientist or a code. What do they call it? Code scientist, code person. What are they called?
Software
Right,
engineer.
software engineers. But they're trained.
Yeah.
It's trained by a software engineer. That's a great one. Thank you. And then it gives you an
Yeah.
answer or an output. So when ChatGPT came out, its knowledge base was the internet pre 2021. So I feel like people's early usage of ChatGPT probably led them astray because they could use it for search from the internet, and therefore they just looked at it like a search engine, right? But it is
Yeah.
not just that. But maybe ChatGPT got them thinking it was just that because that's how it really started in its first couple of months. But something about, again, I am not a computer scientist, I am not a software engineer, and I use my hands a lot. And when we talk about copyright issues and things like that too, people are like, well, it's just Grammarly or it's spell check or it's just changing a part of a picture. AI doesn't actually do that. The way AI functions is it actually takes what it's being asked or the knowledge base. It is, and I'm using my hands, it completely, I don't know what the technical terms are, but it completely dissolves it into a nothing point and then it recreates it back up, which is why it is called generative AI. And there is something
Yeah.
very
Yep.
particular about the process that makes it special when it generates an output. So people have asked me, we may be getting all over the place here, but people ask me too, like when they
No, you're
generate
good.
something from ChatGPT or any AI model, what are the chances that you and I will get the same answer? It's almost infinitesimally non existent that will happen because of the way how AI dissolves and rebuilds. And so anyway, that's the difference. It's not just looking through information like Google or Bing in their pre-AI days. They had an algorithm that was just a computer
Yep.
program that was trained to look for things like the SEO and keywords and et cetera, which we're all marketers know, to go find those things in order to then start to give a list back to people. AI is actually looking through all the data that it can if you're using it to search the internet to then come up with answers to your question based on a regeneration of the information that it's finding. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
it makes
Okay.
sense to me, and I think I mean just to I don't know if there is a way to reiterate or clarify or whatnot. It's just a different.
It's absolutely
It's
different.
completely different. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just
Yeah,
different. And I don't, and if I guess if I could say one thing that those that listen to this, if you go play with a Chat GPT, if you play with Claude, if you play with Perplexity, if you play with any of these softwares that are out there that are generative and based on a large language model, just give it a
yeah,
chance. Don't just play with
yeah,
it, do some Googling, do some research, because I promise you that the term prompt engineer, the title prompt engineer will be, it's already a job.
yeah,
If you had, it's already going to be a job that people are going to like. Different companies in completely different industries will hire people
yes.
for prompt engineering
Who can
specifically to
yeah,
go in to evaluate processes and to come up with ways
yeah,
that, because we're just what we've just talked about just in the last 10-11 minutes is taking that whole thought of I'm typing and searching, it's spitting out some sort of information. That's the scratch of the scratch. It's we
yeah,
haven't even talked about other
yeah,
triggers where AI is in
yeah,
between. It's in between a process that you don't even see, and it's taking data and it's spitting it over here into a spreadsheet. It's eliminating, and people are, oh, it's going to eliminate jobs. No, relax, relax. You're going to be just fine, right? Just keep up with the times. That's why we're here. That's why
that's
we're
why
talking
we're
about this stuff.
here,
But
absolutely.
if you're a small business owner, or if you're somebody that's paying attention, if I could have something that generated and filled out a spreadsheet to where instead of your copy and pasting,
Yeah,
it's just going and doing its thing, and I could reduce 10 hours a
mhm,
week in a process that's repetitive, how much time did I just free
right,
up for your admin or that other person that they could be doing more productive
yeah.
things?
So
That's
yeah,
where,
we
right?
talk about reclaiming time. I talk about reclaiming time all the time. Like, what do we do when we get our time back? One of the things, so what I would also say about OpenAI, ChatGPT, or AI models at the moment as well, when it first came out in November of 2022, I was like, okay, this is amazing. And then, of course, all the other apps and tools and programs and extensions came out because they were being built on these platforms. And I was off of OpenAI for a couple of months until probably about last September or so when it said that it went multimodal. So I want to explain that to your audience as well, which is just another part of, okay, again, I explained the process. You give it a prompt, you ask it instructions, it goes to look for information, it does its thing based on how it was coded, and then it gives you an output. So the multimodal aspect, I don't know if you played with it, Ty, or not, but a lot of people in the AEC industry, they were like, well, when can it read an image? And I'm like, well, it can. So it can obviously read images right now. You can upload images, you can upload PDFs, and you can work off of these documents. As again, AI is very good at going through large amounts of data points instantaneously. I don't know what's faster than instantaneously, right? A huge amount of data points to give you back answers. So it can actually look at photographs right now. And I've had a lot of people in AEC will say, well, when can it do red lines and QA/QC? That's the next step. So if it can read one photograph or image and it can read another photograph or image, it's soon, it could be being built in a basement right now. It's going to be able to refer between the two images about what is correct and what isn't correct. And so just it's
Mhm.
I don't know, it's off at a tangent. I always talk about the thing too when we talk about AI, and I should have started taking notes when you were talking because you can talk about one very specific thing, but it extrapolates out to 100 different topics. It's not just like it goes from here to here and linear. It literally goes to 100 different things, and those things go to 100 different things. And it's just, I always say it's like the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. It just, AI is, it's so much. It's so much. It's not just
And,
text generation, it's not just image manipulation. It's so much more.
yeah, and I think, and it can become a little overwhelming.
Mhm.
So and I don't want to overwhelm
Right.
everybody, but I will say, and to your point, I believe Autodesk, isn't it, is it Autodesk, the big CAD
Mhm. It's
software?
wonderful.
I think they have something built in. I think if they haven't launched it, it's
So
coming,
they have
because I thought I saw
right.
something.
So what I'll say to that is, and this goes back to your point about misinformation. So, and especially over
Oh,
the
okay.
past year or so, people are like, too much information is coming, then they block it out. They don't want to listen to it. It could be misinformation. It could just be overwhelming information. Take it as you will. It's too much. And I see it myself. But at this point, I feel like I take the deep breath and I start to filter it out and sort it out. I can spot things I think that I'm like, that makes no sense whatsoever. but it would be very confusing to someone who doesn't research this stuff as much as we do, right? My point is this. I had a point. Ty, I lost it. Just give me a second. Please hold.
I was talking about
Yeah. Oh,
Autodesk.
yeah. So a lot of the companies that are coming out or have touted AI, it's not really AI.
Right.
It's a very cool new program, believe it or not. It's awesome and it's really amazing, but they're using it as the buzzword and they're like AI, AI. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but it's not really
Mm-hmm.
AI. It's just a cool new program or it's somebody's written new code for it. Autodesk, I'm not an expert on Autodesk. I know that they have some AI capabilities, but not big true AI throughout their platform. But again, they're a big elephant in the room, whatever you want to call them. They'll be acquiring companies left and right to make sure that they are not behind this at all.
Do we want to talk about maybe just some practical applications? Would you have anything that you'd want to share that may just help people wrap
Sure.
their brain around it from on it? And I know you spend a lot of time on on different companies. I know we're talking about a really small subset
Yeah.
of AEC and
Yeah.
stormwater, but I mean, just anything practical that could just give somebody an aha moment that you want to
Yeah.
share?
So a lot of the times when I'm doing seminars, I'm like, at the very beginning, I was like, all right, who's used AI? Nobody. Who's used ChatGPT? And a couple of hands went up. Most hands go up now, but I'm like, all right, keep your hands up. And then do you have the paid version, which is $20 a month, right? And almost all the
Right.
hands go down, which I'm still really surprised about. It's $20. It's the best $20 you will ever spend. I
Oh yeah.
highly
Oh yeah.
recommend you go give them your $20. You can do it by the monthly. Just sign up for it and go look at it because number one, first of all, people are like, well, is it taking my information? You can turn that off in the paid version. You can turn off training the data set or the model. You can turn off your chat history. That gives you a little added layer of protection. And you and I could talk about the amount of regulations that the US has around AI in about a nanosecond because there aren't any. So there's
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
another
exactly.
conversation.
Yeah. So what was it recently? Like Nvidia, was it Nvidia that uploaded like I think it was, or was it somebody out of Samsung?
Samsung.
Somebody
Samsung was
up
last.
Samsung, like they uploaded their entire proprietary database to
Yeah.
ChatGPT,
Yeah.
and it got leaked
Yeah.
out. I think that's
It is
hilarious. I mean, those guys are some of the smartest guys on the
smartest
planet.
guys ever,
They
but
just
yeah.
they're
So
like,
yeah, absolutely.
oops.
But so ChatGPT, a lot of the major players right now, Copilot, and I'll just say Copilot Pro, which is okay, let's talk about the lack of marketing among the big firms at the moment. Hold that thought because we'll talk about that in a second. All right, but on ChatGPT Pro, not Pro, Plus version 4, which
Plus,
they're
yep.
coming out with version 5, I think imminently. But
Mhm.
$20, again, it gives you the little privacies in the settings where you can turn off training the model, you can turn off your chat history. It also then gives you the ability to upload PDF files or images or documents so that you can actually, and I'm just going to say it, you talk to your information. We are having a conversation with our
Yes.
information. AI tools in big platforms, you don't actually have to learn how to use the program anymore. You have to learn how to talk to AI, which is why the prompt engineering is so important. Understanding how to ask the question or give the instructions to the AI is critical of you getting what you need out of it. So also in that process I told you, ask the question, go look for answers trained on by the software engineer and give an output. Like there's so many possibilities of user error. The user error, like it's your fault that the AI isn't working actually. So that's a whole nother conversation. But you can upload photographs, you can upload PDFs and talk to them. And then, of course, in OpenAI ChatGPT paid version right now, you probably played with them yourself. And this is where it gets to the weird marketing words. You can go build your own AI assistants. And OpenAI has
Yes.
lovingly named them GPT. So now it's GPTs and ChatGPT. It's confusing for everybody. But you can actually build your own AI assistants, ANTS. And what I mean by that is it will walk you through the ability to create these own little things that will run just in your subscription. Um, there was a point to this. And the process that I just said, you're actually now the person that's coding it. You don't even have to know how to code, you just have to tell it what to do. But you're going to give it the instructions and you're going to give it the knowledge base to go look for instructions. So, for example, I built a CRM out of it. We had a CRM platform. I have a small business, you have a small business. The big platforms don't work for us, they're too expensive. So we had all of our client relationship contacts in an Excel spreadsheet with some notes. I created the Jam network GPT for me. I uploaded our Excel spreadsheet, and now I can just talk to that document and just say, I need client X. I need, give me all the Brian's in my client. Who's the client that likes football, whatever. So it's my own little CRM system that I have built in a GPT. I have built GPTs to analyze RFPs and RFQs. I have built a GPT that I also train on business development, and I have workbooks, and I built a book around it. So I actually uploaded that information into this GPT, and it's that one. It can be shared. If you want to just email me, I'll give you the link. But you can ask it about business development and how to move forward in a business development strategy, making a plan, clients, targeting, go, no go decisions, proposals, interviews, all of that stuff. So anything that you think of that you need help with asking or doing this kind of one task really well, you can go build your own assistant. I don't know if that's, I hope that's clear. It's probably as clear as mud really to people who haven't played with it yet, but yeah.
Well, I mean, we could reword it, right? Like you can create your own database. Like so,
Correct.
hopefully everybody understands database, right? Or your own deck of cards, right? So if the internet is one deck of
Yeah.
cards, and you've got ChatGPT looking through that 52 cards for the answer, you could create your own deck of
Yeah.
cards,
Yeah.
right? And so it's called a custom GPT. So you could upload the Clean Water Act. You can upload
Yes. Thank
regulatory
you.
documents. You could
Yeah.
upload all of your case studies from your particular company into this one database. And now when you prompt your custom
Yeah.
stormwater GPT, it's going to look at that data and give you an answer through that lens.
Great.
And cool,
Yes. Very, very
right? In
cool.
fact, it's cool, and it's very cool that you went so far as to take your own personal
Yeah.
clients, upload them to where you can basically talk to an interface and update clients and update
Yes.
notes and see what's
Yeah.
happening. Which I mean, that again, sky is the
Yeah.
limit because you could create your own pipelines and you could put dollar amounts and
Yeah.
stuff. You could do a lot of stuff and
And
then
for
just ask
$20
it
a
because
month.
it's a closed $20 a month, which also gives you access to a lot of now the custom GPTs that are out
Oh,
there that they are plugged into,
right. So when you,
right? So, and we can't even go into all that, but you can. If you want to touch
I
on
want
that,
to just only
go ahead.
touch on it because when you build GPTs for yourself, these personal AI assistants, you can keep them private to yourself. You can share them through a link with other people who have ChatGPT 4.0, the paid version, or you can actually publish them to the public because OpenAI has created a GPT store. And so when people are like, what does that mean? Well, if you just look at your, I'm going to say iPhone, even though I know not everybody has an iPhone, but it's like an app store, but it's like an app store
Right.
for OpenAI and ChatGPT. So even though I've built a business development GPT for myself and for whoever wants to use it, you can go in there and just search for other business development GPTs that people have built. And there's maybe hundreds, right? I think well, this was like a couple weeks ago, there were 3 million GPTs already in the public store. And right now they're free, but they've also promised to be able to monetize them. So people that are building really good GPTs are going to be able to make money off of them sometime soon as well. So
Right.
yeah, but yeah, you mentioned a couple of others. So if I was going to tell like someplace, and I don't have any, I'm not affiliated with OpenAI. I wish I was. I wish they had an affiliate link, but they don't. But I would really put the
Right.
$20 towards the paid version of ChatGPT. I'm currently looking at
Yes.
my screen right now. Now, again, remember we talked about how they're using words confusingly for their marketing. So Microsoft, if you're a Microsoft shop out there, they have their AI component is called Copilot. Now, I am looking at my screen right now and I have Copilot Pro, which is my personal in the corner. So I've got that. They've renamed their Bing search platform as Copilot as well. And then if you are actually a Microsoft business, you can buy, it's an additional fee on top of your existing Microsoft license per person per month. And it's called Copilot for Microsoft 365. So
Oh.
it's Copilot everywhere. So when I'm talking about Copilot to audiences, I'll have people go, well, I think I have it. I can see it. And I'm like, no, that's Copilot, which used to be Bing. It's out there. You probably don't have, you'd know it if you had it. You can open up any of your Microsoft platforms, whether that's Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, Microsoft Word. What am I missing? And the Copilot icon is sitting right there on your browser. Now, people have also asked me then again, so is that stealing our information? What is that looking for? Right now, that AI is not plugged into any knowledge base per se. It is just truly helping you talk to the platform easier than you are already doing at the moment. So, and I make the assumption that anybody who has Microsoft right now, we've already given them our, what's the word I'm looking for? Our presumption of security. I don't think anybody else is looking at my Outlook emails. When I open a Word document, I don't think anybody else is looking at that. When I'm creating a PowerPoint, I don't think anybody else is looking at that. So I'm going to assume 99.9% that right now they're not stealing any of that data. They have no reason to do that because they are trillions upon trillions of dollars into this game, and they're in it. So the Copilot that's sitting inside of Microsoft 365 right now is truly AI for those particular programs.
Gotcha. Yeah. And you touched on it a little bit before, but do you want to share, like, so you had mentioned writing RFQs, writing documentation and stuff like that. I mean, that's obviously something that could become a time saver.
Oh my God.
For so many companies, if everything can be loaded up into one spot. I mean, so imagine, if you will, so you got everything uploaded, all the previous documentation, all the previous RFQs, yep. and then everybody. So if the latest and greatest, like, bios of the people that are going to be partnering on this document, there's always this chase for all this updated information, constant. But so long as it's all uploaded somewhere, like we all doing it on a drive somewhere, but if that drive was encompassed inside of a AI database, then that new person that says, oh, I've got to write a thing, they could say, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
You are an expert. How would that be? You are an expert request for proposal coordinator and writer. Yeah. Please write the following, proposal for this project, blah, blah, blah. These are the people that are, please include the bios from these particular people, on and on. And then boom. And it just goes, and it's going to look at all that stuff, and it's going to give you, depending on how well you prompt it, it's going to get you 85, 90% there, maybe.
It's getting better also. It's getting better every second, and especially when it can learn off of which brings us to the idea of clean data, right? So if you're thinking about creating your own knowledge base, let's just go back to that process. You give it the information for the knowledge base. I always ask people, if you had to start today and build a knowledge base, are your documents, are they accurate? Are they clean? What would you actually put into an AI model or knowledge base right now? A lot of people say, yeah, I think we're okay. And then most of the room was like, we wouldn't put anything in it right now because they know that their documents aren't
not good. No,
well,
good.
They're probably okay, maybe like 75%, but we don't want to put 75% into a model because then we have 25% not good or inaccurate. So this is just a weird side note, but one of the latest images to come out or infographics is that ChatGPT hallucinates, I think 3% of the time. It has like a 97% accuracy rate. And so when I talk about that, I've got people in the room go, that's unacceptable. 3% is awful. And I'm like, I'll take it. It's not awful to me. And I would bet that our human inaccuracy rate is much higher than 3%, right? So anyway, that's just a fun side note. But we go back to, if you really had to start to, like when I have a proposal one as well, I told you, and I don't upload all of our proposals. Lori and I, when we do our proposals for clients, I took the best ones and uploaded them as examples for the AI to scour through. I didn't upload the ones that I don't like. So you want to put, and that's what I say is clean data. It's clean information, it's accurate information. How would you train your model if you had it? So
again, here we go. Sky's the limit. Let's upload the winning ones in one section. Right. Let's upload the losing ones in another section. Let's let the model look and see what could we have done better when we're creating the next one, right? Yeah. And I'm with you. I think if I wrote something that's 1,000 words and 3% was off or something. But here's another thing to think about too. From a time-saving standpoint, you can produce documents, whether it's outlines or trying to produce full documents or whatnot. And ChatGPT does hallucinate, but guess what? You can copy and paste from ChatGPT over into Claude. And now I'm really going super nerd for you. And you can say, Claude, you're a professional copywriter and proofreader, and I'd like you to review this article and let us
Yeah.
know, does it meet XYZ standards regardless? And Claude will do it,
So
and it'll tell you, oh, well, this is wrong or this is inaccurate,
So
right?
for your audience, what they should know is Anthropic is a unicorn company. It was founded by, I think, two computer scientists who left OpenAI. They created their company called Anthropic, and their ChatGPT competitor is called Claude. And I think it was less than a month ago, they announced, so Claude was free and you could play with it, but I think less than a month ago, they announced their 3-tier pricing. I think it's Poet, Sonnet, and then Opus. And Opus is the $20 a month per user seems to be that magic dollar amount right now. But I immediately signed up for it, and I'll give you a really good example. I'll give you a good example. So I always tell people, and you just mentioned it earlier as well, if you try an AI tool, even if it is ChatGPT, and you don't like it or you don't find it to be doing what you need it to do, one, there's an error in the process, right? And it could be you. But two, if you don't like it, move on to the next AI tool. This is what's happening right now. We are in a place where we get to test lots of things for low cost or free cost. There is no barrier to AI entry at the moment. There just isn't. So if you don't like something, cut your losses there and move on. And I will give you an example. I was using ChatGPT to analyze some interviews. And I was in it for a good 2 hours trying to figure out where I was going wrong in the process. Was it user error? Was I not giving enough context? Was I not asking it in the right way? Was I not giving it good enough examples? But it was not giving me what I needed. And then I said, well, Kristen, please take your own advice. And so then I went to Claude and tried something out there, and perfection. And I was like, so I've learned my lesson myself. You teach something and then you're like, please take your own advice. But what I will say about Claude, so I find Claude to be far superior right now, just for the moment, in writing and generating. But Claude has no security parameters in place, even for the paid versions. So the things that I feel comfortable doing with ChatGPT, because of their privacy versions, I do not feel comfortable doing the same thing with Claude. So I have to be really careful about what I put into Anthropic or Claude. That doesn't mean they may not put the security in tomorrow, but right now, no security in Claude. And you also mentioned is also a unicorn, which means that the company has hit, I think, $1 billion in investment in a year, at 1 year, with they didn't go public on stock and they haven't been sold to a third party. So I think I just saw yesterday, out of the thousands of big companies that have launched in the past 2 years because of AI, 143 are unicorns. 143 new $1 billion companies in the past year and a half. Anyway, that's a side note. So Perplexity is one, and I really like them because it's a search engine. I use the verb Google, but I don't Google anymore. Probably haven't now for about 2 months. Perplexity is my the search engine that I use all the time. And it does have also levels of privacy in it. So of all the ones out there, even Microsoft Copilot, the free version, I think there's Pi, I think there's Poe, there's Claude, and those do not have the privacy safety measures that I am comfortable with. But Claude, mind-blowingly amazing at the moment.
And you're the second person in the last 30 days, less maybe, that has said that they use Perplexity for their search. So we're digging into it. Like another gentleman that I know that we actually just sat through one of his presentations. His name's Jonathan Mast. Mm-hmm. Feel free to look him up on Facebook. He's got a group for prompting. It's pretty amazing what they do in that group and what he does for his company. But sat through his presentation, and he as well said that he's just using Perplexity. And he's just using Perplexity at this point just on the free side.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing.
Perplexity is for free for me as well. I've looked into
on the free side. Yeah, the free.
I've looked into the paid version, and I think the 2 extra things that it offers just weren't interesting for me at the moment. But if they asked me to pay right now, I would do it. I mean, if they were going to take it away from me, I probably would pay. So I shouldn't tell.
And I thought, and I hadn't. Yeah, don't put that out in the ether. Yeah, I want to play with it some more. I have heard good things about Perplexity. I've also heard, and you can verify this, that you could take articles and whatnot, put it in a Perplexity again, as a proofreader, and Perplexity will actually look up context and provide you a citation.
Yes, they do that. So that's so
which is pretty freaking cool when you're doing,
correct.
depending on the type of writing you're doing.
Right. So when you ask a question in Perplexity, it's going to give you its AI generated answer, but it's also going to put those citations in and give you links right back to those citations, which I think is really interesting. And again, no offense to Google anywhere, their algorithm that they're using is now people can beat the algorithm when their whole entire business model is if you pay the most, you're going to come up in a search or you can beat the
Oh,
algorithm
yeah.
by keywords and metadata and all this stuff. And Perplexity, I just find it, I don't know, I just find it to be refreshing. It's not giving me the top 5 answers of somebody that's paid for it. It is really scouting the internet for the real answers that I'm looking for. And when it first came out, what I really liked about it was, well, first, I think also you can put a profile in for yourself, which sounds creepy to some people, but it gets to know you better. So it understands how to answer you. It's learning about you. And then also it gives prompts after you ask it a question. So if I just put in, I need new headphones, it will start to ask questions to better answer where you're trying to get instead of, unlike Google, just bringing up whoever has the best keyword for headphones. Do you know what I mean?
No, I totally understand what you're saying. I've got three other ideas. That we're gonna go a little longer, folks. So, might as well just, if you don't already have your
Settle
seatbelt
in.
on, you might want to put it
Yeah,
on. So a couple of things on that is one, I totally did the same
I
thing.
know.
I
I know.
totally
You
lost.
lose.
It's
I
shoot.
know.
So Perplexity. I don't know. I don't know.
It'll come
It'll
back.
come
It'll
back
come
to
back.
me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to go back to what something you said though. So
Oh,
when,
I know.
go ahead.
No. So just to help people out, again, something that Kristen just mentioned, but I want to clarify it because I want you all to be better prompters
Mhm.
so that you get a better experience, right? So when you do your prompt at the end, you can always say, give me X, Y, and Z. Or you should really start out with, you are an expert in what? Tell
You
ChatGPT,
give it a role.
train
You give it a role.
ChatGPT what it is. Tell it what it is because it's gonna do
Yeah.
that. I know, which is
Mhm.
crazy. So it's gonna do that. Then you ask it what you want, and then you ask it. Then you say, and please ask me any
Yeah.
questions that you need to be able to fulfill my request and give me time to
Yeah.
respond. And it will literally do all those things if it feels like it's got some holes, and your responses will come out way
Yeah,
better,
there's again,
way
like we
better.
said, there's so many classes out there on prompting, but the real truth is you have to give it a it's this is so simple. And maybe as marketers we're just designed this way to give information, but you have to give it a role, you need to give it some directions, you need to give it some context. If you can give it an example. One of the GPTs that I built in ChatGPT, I said write like Kristen. So I pulled about 10
Oh yeah,
writing
that.
I pulled about 10 writing samples. I have a very distinct way of writing. I pulled the samples, I uploaded that as a knowledge base. And now every time I give it a topic to start to write on or information, and I'm like, can you write this like Kristen? It's a GPT that is built to write like me. So I have help writing like me. It's awesome. But now I've lost it again too. My God, it's contagious.
That's okay. I'm going to jump
Oh,
on that thought
oh wait,
real
wait.
quick because
Yeah.
let's say you. Okay, go
Okay.
ahead. Go
So
ahead. Go ahead.
also you were talking about comparing things, but one of a good example of this as well, if there's any HR people in the room or going through resumes is I'm not going to cuss here, but it's awful, right? So ChatGPT or any AI model that you want to use right now, you can upload the actual job description. You can upload the resume and you may ask the AI to compare the two. You can upload a job description. You can upload 100 resumes in a PDF file and ask it to find the resumes that fit the criteria for what you have asked. That's instantaneous. So even 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, Ty, when we were looking for marketing coordinators or proposal coordinators, and we have all the ones coming across the desk, I know what the job description is because I wrote it, and I'm looking for the keywords that I'm looking for in the resumes, right? And I'm highlighting them and going through them. And I know it's important because we need the people. Recruiting is a huge problem in AEC firms, maybe across the world. I'm not really sure, but a huge time suckage. So
Suck.
right,
Time
I
suck.
know.
Yeah.
So, but I'm
Yes.
going through finding the stuff. Well, I could just do that with AI right now. So anyway, just there's the possibilities are endless. You say what you were going to say, and then if you will come back to me, and the
Yep.
remember word is what we were talking about earlier. What do you like to do during your day? What do you not like to do during your
Okay.
day? Okay, but you go first.
During the day. No, I wanted to piggyback on what you're saying about writes like Kristen. So let's say you haven't written a lot of stuff and you're not KK and you don't have all this
I love
novels
to
and
write.
novels of
I
plethoras, right? So how do you do it for you,
yeah,
right? Because if you prompt, and as you get in there again, we're just trying to encourage you
yeah,
to stick your toe in it to see what's going to
absolutely.
happen because it's gonna revolutionize a lot of things. But you can actually, so Chat GPT understands Myers Briggs. If you've ever heard of Myers
Mhm,
Briggs, if you've ever heard of DISC, any of the big personality
mhm,
tests, you can go to 16personalities.com. You can go get a free test, find out what you are,
mhm.
right? And then you can literally have ChatGPT write something for you, and you go, oh, now and this is two things because it's something else I wanted to circle back on. When you search in Google, that's it. You searched it, it's over. That's what you got, and you got to start over.
Right,
So it's
right.
like you're starting over a new conversation. It's like you're asking. It's literally like you're standing in front of 100 people, and you're asking 100 people a different thing, and you're having 100 different conversations to get the one result you
Yeah,
desire. When you are working within a Chat GPT session, if you don't like you like what you don't have to throw the baby out with the
right.
bathwater. You can take sections of it. You can say, hey, can you rewrite it like this? Can you do this? Can you expand on it? And now you're actually having a conversation with just that one person trying to get
Yeah,
this one result and defining and redefining it. And I think that's a big
yeah,
difference, right?
huge
Of then
difference.
just of
Yeah,
Google search.
yeah.
But you can literally figure out what you are and you can say, write it as an INTJ, write it as an INTJ plus a DI or whatever. If you're not familiar with those personality types, go figure that out and then you'll understand what I'm
Write
saying.
this is
But,
a
and it will
highly
rewrite it
aggressive
in its
AI
own.
techno-optimist female who wants to
Yeah.
retire for her cats. That might be too specific. Something that you mentioned again, so like we mentioned the prompt again, role, give it instructions, context, examples, feedback. If you do not know how to prompt, and many people do not, and that's completely okay. I have a list of, in time, maybe I'll do this too. I'll send you the PDF document. And if anybody comments to you or whatever, or they can comment to me, you can give them my information and I'll send them.
We can provide whatever you
Perfect.
want. We can provide links in the show
Yeah,
notes.
I
Yep.
have about
Yep.
just
Yep.
okay. So I have a Notion site that probably has right now almost 2,000 tools searchable right now. But I also have a very specific, about 3 or 4 pages specifically for marketing, BD, and sales. But my point of the story is if you are not comfortable with prompting, there are lots of sites out there who are trying to make it easy for you. Even my Chat GPT, I have a Chrome extension that's plugged into it and it has like easy buttons. And so it's set up where it's write a blog title, SEO, press release. And so if you don't know how to prompt these tools, they're really trying to help you. I think I mentioned Right Sonic. My brain is going blank at the moment. There are a couple out there where you can just click the buttons of things that you want to do, and it will start to walk you through what it needs from you in order to give you what you want. So,
Right. Right. And my whole thing is just don't give up. That's why I keep bringing it
correct.
back around because I feel like that's the sticking point is because you just feel like you give it 2 seconds, it spits something out at you. And take it like this. Here's another mindset, right? If for anybody that's ever trained a coworker,
I
brand
was
new
going to say
coworker on
that
the job, or
you
hired
stole
somebody,
my
what?
idea.
What? I'm just saying. What I'm saying is that you go to train somebody,
Correct.
and if you took somebody on the first day of their job and said, "Here, write me a
Right.
proposal," and that's their first day. They don't know where anything is. They don't know nothing. They just at a desk. Their computer barely just turned
Yeah.
on. Write me a proposal. That proposal is going to absolutely
Or
suck.
they're not going to be able to do
Period.
it.
I don't
Yeah.
care how good they are.
Yes.
Or it's going to be way off in left field because they don't know that company. They don't know the data behind it. And so that's why the prompting is so
Yeah.
important. You've got to train Chat GPT just like you would train an employee. But man, once you've got that employee trained, you're off to the
And
races.
what happens if you train that employee permanently in your own GPT? You never have to really train it again. You can still give it new
Right.
information and upload it. I love that analogy so much. I don't want to give the human attributes. I don't want to create artificial general intelligence at the moment, but and not give too many human attributes to AI. But
No thanks.
but if you think about that, if you think about AI, I call it a coworker with some caveats. The coworker that you actually like, There are a lot of.
Oh my
But you have to
goodness.
like the coworker. You have to want them to succeed because you want to look good, right? You want them to help you help them. So if you do think of it this way, exactly, you have to train this thing. And then I think that we lose a lot of people there because, oh my gosh, it's just more, we have to learn this thing. And I'm like, it is not like another computer program. You are not going to have to constantly this again, you're never going to have to learn a program. You're going to have conversations
Right.
with it. So yeah,
Right.
the
Right.
for other computer software, you put in this much effort and you get out this much effort. With AI, I think it's like this much effort, and then the amount you get out is
Yeah.
infinite
Yeah.
possibilities
Then
of what
yeah.
you will get out if you just give it a little bit of time. I have a very dear friend of mine. He runs an MEP firm. Love him dearly. I was like, I have to come in and talk to your company about just AI because I would be doing you a huge disservice, even as a friend, if I did not do this. And he was like, I tried it. What you said is, I tried it and I asked it some stuff and it was wrong. And this was also a year ago. And I'm just like, just give it time or we're not training the model right. But when I told his company about AI, the first thing that these guys said was something you said earlier. Are you telling me I can upload the codes and regulations and just ask questions? And I said, absolutely, you can do that today. And to go back to people who think it's just a computer program, they're like, I can upload a PDF with PDF Reader and search words. That's not what it is.
No,
It's
no.
not going
Yeah.
through the document
Yeah.
looking for the word ampersand or whatever, if that's what you're looking for. It is you are asking questions of this information that it has digested and understands. Oh my God,
Yeah. With
it's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's going to give you an answer in context. It's not just we're not
Right.
talking about a clapper. It's not clap on,
No.
clap off. We're not turning the light on and
Yeah.
off. It's literally trying to figure
It is
out whether
inventing
that light
electricity.
is
Yeah.
yeah, can we do better than that
It is
light? Like,
inventing,
whatever, I
yeah,
don't know.
new energy. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
a copper.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
It's gonna come back and tell you, yeah, maybe you should replace that light with an LED light because it's gonna last longer and it's gonna do a lot more than
yeah,
just turn it on,
yeah,
turn it
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah.
But hey, let's circle back around. You were mentioning day to
Yeah, so
day. You had you that was
this
a
might be a good way to end. I know we've had people's attention for a while now. And what I like to say, people are like, where do I start? Right. And maybe they ask you the same
yes.
question. What's the tool I should use? And I'm like, okay, that's really disingenuous of me to give you an answer. I'd be a really bad consultant if that's where we started, because what works for me may or may not work for you. And there are a million AI tools out there at the moment and growing every day. So this is where I tell people to start. And you can just get your old school pen and paper out, stick it next to your computer, and you start writing down what you do during your day. And I don't mean talking to Ty or whatever. I'm like, but the bigger picture stuff is like maybe you're waiting on, or maybe you're doing timesheets, or you're trying to get receipts, or I'm trying to generate, or I'm brainstorming an idea, or I'm spending an hour creating a video, or I'm whatever that is, whatever your day looks like. And then I guarantee if you go through that and you also assign how much time you've spent on these things, we'll find AI tools that can do each of those things, either help you do them better or get them off your plate or delegate them. And then we find the AI tool and we look at the price, and that's the kind of mental chart that I look at when I try to figure out how much I'm spending on tools, but how much time is it really saving me? You started this whole entire conversation off in that specific example. And I will talk about, again, learning from what I teach. So I may have talked to you about this. So about a month and a half ago or so, I lost complete control of my calendar. And because I consult and I do lots of interviews with leadership, I have to schedule those interviews with people. And if anybody's tried to schedule, it takes an inordinate amount of time. It's insane. And I lost control of my calendar and I just thought, what is happening? And then I was like, Kristen, you're an idiot. Go look for AI that can help you with this. So I found an AI tool. It controls my calendar and it costs, I think it was like $250 a year or something. So what is that? $20 a month. Is that right? It's 20 something
Mhm.
dollars a month.
Yeah.
And people
Plus,
are like,
plus or
that
minus, yeah.
magic number of $20 a month. Okay, that's really what it is.
$20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's saving me, and I have the number somewhere. It's saving me 1 to 2 hours a week. So that time, and when you start to add these AI tools up, I have a list because I'm about to do a little recording of all the tools that I actually use. And I think I'm saving 14 hours a week right now just on AI. Now, as I told you, I'm filling those hours trying to keep up with AI. So there's one thing.
Yeah,
But
but
but it's
still.
about 14 hours a week on just things that I'm saving time on, and remarkable, right? So I will tell your audience, because I did add it up. Someone asked me how much I spend. Personally and professionally, I'm spending about 3,000 a year on AI at the moment. Like true AI, and that includes my Microsoft license and the upgrade to Copilot, but it includes some other tools as well. So I'm about $3,000 in per year. But the amount of time again that saves me over here is absolutely 100% worth it. All right, so if you were to ask me what those tools are, of course I can tell you, but I want to find tools that work for you and also work within your budget. So whatever that is that you can spend, let's find those tools. You don't have to go all in on the annual subscription. You can try some things, many things for free, and then just for monthly
Exactly.
stuff. And if you don't like it, move on till you find the thing that can start to habitualize your day to getting used to the AI. It's not, I say this all the time in my presentations, it's not about falling in love with a particular AI program, because that program may or may not go away tomorrow because this is changing so quickly. And it also may get bought out by somebody. Autodesk, Microsoft, any of these companies may start to buy out these other companies. But you are getting comfortable with the ability to talk to AI, and you're going to get better and better at it. And it's going to put you not just your toe in the water, you're going to be diving.
Diving in. Hey, yeah, and to add to that, I think on the personal level and on the professional level, if you run a
Oh,
team,
yeah,
look for the repetitive tasks, the
absolutely.
tasks that you don't like, but also if you're going to actually start tracking, Kristen,
Yeah,
like you're
yeah,
saying, right? And then over the week, over a month, start to look
absolutely.
for those
Oh my
repetitive
God.
tasks because that's where the key, that's where it really starts, the rubber starts to meet the road. Because if you can replace some of those repetitive tasks,
Yeah.
then that's where you start to really gain your time
Yeah,
back.
we look at those.
Well,
Yeah, we look at those little rote tasks. Those things are annoying to us, and absolutely AI can take that off our plate. But I also don't want to ever lose sight of the bigger picture that AI can do so much more than just like those kind of things. So slow steps. I'll take the slow step.
yeah,
Baby
baby
steps,
steps,
baby
Kristen. We're just trying to get them in
any
the door.
step
Yeah,
you take
we're
is
just
good.
trying
I
to.
know. Yeah. If
we
that's
just we just want them to drink the Kool-Aid with
if
us,
that's the
right?
gateway drug, so be it. So be
Yes,
it.
exactly, exactly. Well, as everybody knows, to listen to this podcast, this is a sales-friendly podcast. So, Kristen, tell everybody where they can find
Oh
you. Where are
yeah.
you speaking at
Yeah.
next? Is there any courses they can go find? Anything that you say, you'll send me the links. We'll put them in the show notes, folks. But then, like, where can they find you? What's the easiest way
So
to connect with you? All those
RA
things.
consulting, we just do three. We do consulting, we do true consulting, we do training, and we also help with implementation. And you can find information on our website at jamideaagency.com. And the best part, just search for me on LinkedIn, Kristin, Kristin Kautz. Find me on LinkedIn and you may ask me anything. I could talk about AI. Ty knows I could talk about AI all day long, all day long.
All
Yeah.
right. Any final
Go
thoughts before we
go
go?
get started. If you have not,
Go
go get
get
started.
started.
Like today, right now, go get started.
Hey, thanks again for taking the
You're
time. I
so
really appreciate it.
welcome. You're so welcome. This has been fun.
Talk to you
Yeah.
later. Bye.
Bye.